And hello everyone, All About the Gyro here. Hope all of you are well. Today I wanted to talk to you about how to handle adversity in iRacing. As in specifically when you have a bad set of races. So, experience being the teacher that it is, last night, that's what happened to me. I had 2 races in the Indy Pro 2000 car, lost 103 iRating. And so I looked at this as a teaching moment of the way that I handle this. Maybe somebody out there could use this method, and that way you bounce back quicker. So if you see me look down during the video, the reason is I have my new Supernote A5X. This is an e-ink reader, and I am one that writes stuff down. Like when I sit at my dining room table here, I almost always have a tablet of real paper. In this case, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I have half a dozen tablets of paper. And I'm like, I don't need this much paper in my life. So I saved up my money, got this, and I really am liking this. So if you have any questions about the Supernote, feel free to leave a comment down below. So, I approach this in a 4-part way. And there's an order of importance with this. The first step is the most important one, and that is acceptance. You have to accept this has happened. Whether it's in a 24-hour endurance race, whether it's life, adverse job decision, relationships. Trouble will always come in this life. In my case, it was 103 iRating due to 2 crashes. And I'm reminded of a practical thing in racing and then a practical thing in life. Senna and Schumacher and Earnhardt and the other great drivers, they had bad days too. They had crashes. They had mechanicals. They made mistakes. They just managed to minimize them, as in their near misses were as good or better than most people's target. And then the philosophical one is the one, I'm comforted in, when Jesus said, don't worry about the things of tomorrow, you'll have plenty of problems for today. And that is very, very true. Yesterday, it was a roller coaster day. It was up and down, and that was even before I got into the rig to race. So it's important to accept, yes, things happen. But if the only bad thing that happened in your day is, okay, you had a bad race and you lost 25 iRating, that's really not a bad day. Things could be considerably worse, especially in this crazy world. And so, refusing to accept these things happen, you are denying yourself growth. Don't do that. Accept it. Sit there and go, okay, I had this happen in this situation. It has occurred. So that's the most important step. You have to be willing to accept so you can do the other 3 steps to grow. And so that next step is assessment. Don't just assess what happened, assess how it happened and why it happened. And this is where, and I'll probably reemphasize this again, iRating is not an objective measurement. It's often very subjective. I've said in previous videos that you have to take iRating with a grain of salt because you have certain people and certain cars that do very well, especially in your smaller communities. Indy Pro 2000 is a great example. Great community, it's a great car, but its scale impact on the service is minimal. And that's sad because, frankly, I've driven 3 races in this car and I'm like, this car is awesome. More people need to be driving this car again. So in the assessment, I go, okay, I crashed both times, but how did I crash and why did I crash? And some very interesting things came from this. So in situation 1, I'm in P9. I am in one large split. I am the 17 car. I am P9 competing and chasing down P8, and I ran an alternative setup. A lot of people were running very low downforce. I went medium, and I was able to drive sector 1 and sector 3. So sector 3 is in the braking zone into the left-right chicane before doing the finish loop. And I was willing to trade 1/10 to 2/10 of straight line speed on the backstretch because I knew I was getting it all back at other parts of the circuit. So the takeaway is, okay, you're the 17 car in a 22 car split, and you're at P9. You are punching above your level. You are chasing down cars with low car numbers. That is a net plus. And in my notes, I said, you know what? I'm pushing hard. I was competing. And the thing is you have to understand competing as a net positive and not a net minus. If you look at only the results, you will always be net minus. Don't look at the results. Results are merely outcomes of actions that were taken prior. That's all they are. And so I have this philosophy about competing. When you compete, the struggle is often not on things that are on the outside, what we call external factors. So using iRacing as our metric, damage to the car, wrong setup, you're a split too high and people drive so much faster than you and you're like, okay, I'm gonna get my butt kicked, but okay, here I am. Those are external factors. Sometimes you can control those, sometimes you can't. But competing is an internal thing. Because now it's about capability. It's much less about capacity. So in that first instance, what happened was I ran the left rear on the curb at turn 1 at Road Atlanta. Wheel spin, end of race, wrecked someone that was behind me. He had nowhere to go. I just lost it. So I can be upset over losing 25, or I can be really happy and say, you know what? I was trying hard and I was doing well, and I just made one mistake. And I've learned from it. So race 2 is even the larger takeaway for me. So I was the P14 car in the 21 car split, and I am at P4. And for this race, I went high downforce. I went completely bonkers compared to most people. And I am competing with Jason Owens. Now, Jason Owens is a regular. well known in the Indy Pro 2K community. And he and I are competing. He is in front of me, and I am right behind. And we are having a good old-fashioned tussle. And the car behind caught up and just missed it. All it was a misjudgment. That's all it was. Misjudged the according effect, tapped me in the rear, spun me, car hit me, broke the right front tire rod, end of race. So I can look at the 78 points I lost and go, are you kidding me? Or I can go, wait a minute. I'm the number 14 car, I'm running an alternate strategy, and I'm keeping up with someone that had a very low car number. And a couple laps before, another low car number, Simon Fell, lost it, spun the car, and you're the one keeping it on the road, and you're pushing forward. This is not a bad thing. So what this comes is I'm driving a lot better than my car number and my skill rating in this series. I'm making the right decisions setup-wise, and I'm learning. And the key thing to take away from this, if you forget everything else, learning will come often from failure instead of success. Embrace the struggle, you will be better for it. So that kind of segues into number 3, which is, are there positive takeaway from it? You've already heard most of those positives, but here's one that sometimes you have to consider. A lower I rating means you'll get an easier split in another series. I'm racing Porsche Cup, very hard car. Radicals, equally challenging car. I'm down 100 points. I'm no longer in the split too high scenario. I'm now probably where I belong in those two series, and I know I'm driving well. Opportunities exist to gain a fair bit of those points I lost back. So that's the beauty of the iRacing I-rating system, is you always have opportunities. And that's the thing to keep in mind, is that is the strength of iRacing. You have another opportunity. You can get back out there, and all it takes is, and what has often happened in my case is I have a terrible race and then something really good happens shortly thereafter. So accentuate the positive in your positives. And then the last thing is one of character. And even though it's 4th on the list, it's still very important. That is, how do you handle it? In the first one, I apologize. I felt terrible because I don't like running into people. The second one, I handled it about as well as I could. This is a good thing. It is important how you handle it in the moment. It shows the true character of who you are. So I hope that these 4 things will help you, not just in iRacing, but in life, to be the best version of yourself that you can be. So, okay, I'm 100 points down, but you know, I was 66 up after week 1, so all is not lost. It's still a game. Make sure you have fun at it. So anyway, that's about it. I hope all of you are well. And make sure you like, follow, subscribe, and we will see you in the next one. God bless.